Go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 12 o'clock noon, Tuesday, May 28th. We do have a quorum with all members of the EDC board being present, including Mayor Molina, Mayor Pro Tem David Torres, ECISD trustee Mr. Mike Farias, and Ms. Sonia Enriquez. Got Joey Trevino here, our director, help us out. Joey, was the meeting posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, Mr. President, this notice was posted on the 24th day of May, 2019 at 5 p.m.
Thank you, sir. We'll go right into it. Number 3, consider approval of the Board of Directors minutes for the March 26, April 16, April 30, and May 16 board meetings.
Second.
Do you have a motion and a second? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 4, discuss and consider approving a new account with Techstar regarding the new Series 2019 bond issuance construction fund account. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, the construction fund account was opened in Plains Capital Bank and was funded at the closing on the bond issuance on May 9th. The staff is requesting that the construction fund in the amount of $9,780,000 be moved to Techstar investment pool so that it can accrue daily interest. The interest rate of the close of business on May 22nd was 2.3797%. The average rate is net of 0.06% for management fees, which is based on a per share rata basis on the EDC portion of the investment. The governmental pool invests the following government-backed securities, treasuries, backed by the U.S. government and U.S. Treasury, agencies backed by the U.S. government, agencies such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mae, and Ginnie Mae, repurchase agreements, short-term borrowing between banks. The recommendation is to approve the new account with Techstars regarding the new series bond issuance.
Thank you, sir. Can I entertain a motion on number 4?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 5, discuss and consider authorizing the executive director to enter into an agreement with Taco Olé for participation in the Small Business Renovation and Improvement Grant Program. Trevino.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, thank you. Mr. Bazan has owned and operated Taco Olé in the city of Edinburgh since 2006. Presently, they have 30 employees. The location is 2620 Freddy Gonzalez. Mr. Bazan has provided required information and application to participate in the small business grant program, and has stated for this program, Mr. will meet the requirements of employees and length of operation for the city and proof of sales tax paid over the prior years. He has a cost estimate about $16,999. Of course, our grant only up to $10,000.
And he's aware of that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Going to do a lot of good things in there. New refrigerators, chairs, freezers, countertops, general repairs. All right. Can I entertain a motion for number 5 to help out Taco Olé?
I make a motion.
I second. Could I ask questions concerning this?
Yes, sir.
Particular one, Mr. President?
Sure. Go
Okay.
ahead, Mike. You have the floor.
Is there a certain amount of years that they have to be opened after this money is given to them?
We have a 3-year commitment.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all
Minimum.
right. I just wanted to verify that. I knew we had some sort of a
It's a
length of
clawback
times.
period.
Okay,
Yes,
so it's a 3-year. Okay. Thank you.
Just to clarify, Ms. Enriquez, that was a motion to approve?
To approve.
Yes.
You have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Number 6, presentation of North Park project plans and specifications, and consider authorizing staff to go out for bids. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Mr. Posadas, SDI Engineering, who make a presentation based on the plans for the North Park plan.
Okay, good afternoon, Board President and Board members. My name is Isaiah Posadas with SDI Engineering here on to present to you the park, what we're terming as North Park over at the Boys and Girls Club Subdivision Lot 1. So first wanted to kind of show you the area, which is off of Rogers and the Expressway on the southwest corner at that site, just east of the Boys and Girls Club within the same subdivision. Zoom into that. This is a copy of the plat. One thing that was a little bit of a challenge on this project, and we've discussed this before, is the fact that it's encumbered by a 150-foot ETT easement, which is those high-rise wires, those power lines, those main distribution lines that were just installed last year. So with that encumbrance, there comes some challenges. There's some restrictions on what we can or cannot do on that. So what we've done is we've planned a park encompassing the entire area as we work with the ETT to figure out what exactly we can build within that site. But given that we also had some funding restrictions, we have some, it was able to work out, we think. So here is a view of the full park here. Again, for the expressways here on the right side of the screen, which is the east side, and then Rogers is along the north side. This includes, the amenities include 2 softball fields, which also double as baseball fields for the smaller leagues. It includes a playscape. And if this playscape, the size that's shown here is approximately the same size as what Janet Becker Park has on the east side of town. It includes restroom facilities with concessions and a basketball court, parking areas, and a walking trail. Now you'll notice, we're encumbering the ETT easement, but this is what we call the master plan. And what we've done is we've broke it up to make it into a phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 1
So we
is-
can build there, Mr. Posadas? Sorry to interrupt.
At this point, we're still trying to get confirmation on exactly what we can build. And if even we've verbally received notice that they didn't see a problem with us doing this type of facility as long as there were no permanent structures like a building. So you'll notice we don't have any buildings in that segment of it.
Okay.
But in
Thank
order
you.
for us to actually spend the money, in our opinion, it'd be better to get our legal department and their legal department to make sure that we have that permission. Because as it was approved, as that easement was approved back when they did this, it's very restrictive. You read it, and it sounds like you can't do anything under it. But adjacent to us, just south of us, the park, the dog park or the animal shelter they've got there, they're able to do parking lot. They even have a walking area for the animals that they've got there. So those were some of the conditions that they were allowed to work in that easement. So we're hopeful, and the attorney that we've worked through is the attorney that represented them here locally. We're now working with the Corpus office, with their legal department up there, their easement people, to get that in writing confirmed. But because of our funding restrictions, we ended up putting, in breaking it up, phase 1 and phase 2, that's what we would term phase 2. This area, which is all the area on the east side. So we still get, in phase 1, part of the parking. You'll notice this highlighted area, part of the parking, the restroom facilities, the playscape, and 1 softball field. And we included all of the walking trail as part of this. Now, we already know that's a passive, that trail is not a problem. It's a passive type of facility, so that would not be an issue. So the only thing left to do in phase 2 would be that additional park and the basketball court and some additional parking. Any questions on the layout? This is what we could do with the space that we had there. One of the first times we went out there and visited the site, it looks like a very large area, but once you start putting, softball fields and the parking areas to scale, this is really the space that we've got to work with. Now, the areas in blue, don't be fooled, that is not a lake that we're putting in. Those are just the detention areas per the requirement to have take care of our own drainage detention. Anything that happens within this site, we are responsible for the drainage, so those are that's the reason we've got those type of features, basically just depressed areas or lower areas. The cost and the schedule summary. In the phase 1, we've got about $900,000, $991,000 after we made certain adjustments. And phase 2, about $386,000. This brings the total down to about $1.3 million or $1.4 million, a little lower than what we originally estimated, and we're hopeful that we can get very aggressive on our bidding and get a lot of interest so that we can bring that cost down. As far as timing, we think, and this is being very conservative, by August 1st, we should be, have a contractor already awarded with a contract and already by then having start turning over dirt on the site. And it looks to be about a 3 to 5 month project is what we're anticipating. So hopefully by the end of the year,
Just in time for Christmas.
yes, sir, hopefully we get that.
Go back to that. I know we had talked about different things here. So one thing that we had talked about was doing a splash pad for the north side kids. That wasn't feasible after all, or what? Did we not want to put that under the power lines, or?
Well, the splash pad would not be, we would not recommend the splash pad over on the far east side. There is really no room there. The only area that we had originally looked at is maybe in this corner here on basically the west side of it. There were some early talks that maybe we could partner up with the owner of this property to maybe joint use, but none of that has taken place just yet.
Who owns that property?
I believe that is by the IDEA Academy.
Idea Schools?
Yes, sir. I think Mr. Trevino had some early conversations with them already about that.
How did that go?
They were gonna pave it and make a parking lot, basically, so we brought some other ideas to the table, so we would just have to negotiate, start working with them and
We're
see.
still in contact with
Yes,
them?
sir, yes, sir.
I have a question. In the event that Phase 2 is not approved, is there a way to adjust Phase 1 to make more room for the basketball court? Because if Phase 2 doesn't get approved, there's no basketball court in a sense.
The basketball, in our opinion, the basketball is not going to be a big issue. The bigger issue that we think we're going to face with them is going to be the softball field, if anything. Only because that has higher fencing. You've got a lot of metal protruding, for instance, the fence all around the pole. Now, they say there's no danger from having facilities because these are very tall. The wires are far away.
How high are those wires? Do you know by any chance?
I think they're probably about
You get this.
about 70 feet, 60 to 70 feet, I think. There is, the pole that they have is right here where I've got this number. There is a difference in elevation on those high wires depending on how close you are to the pole.
Where's
So
the
I
next
think it
pole?
could vary.
To the south.
It's in the parking lot of the Pause place.
Okay, so all the way across.
Yes, sir. So is there a risk that the basketball courts will not be built? There's very little risk that will be an issue because it's basically a slab. We don't have it covered. We don't have that as a covered structure in this design.
So then the splash pad would be a no-go.
The splash pad in this, with the room that we've got available, may not. We don't have the room.
What about a small area or like the skateboarders, like the skate park that we have over there on Sprague? I know we had talked about that also. Could we maybe fit something like that up here?
This area right in here
that pole
may
would be?
fit, yes.
But what about the northeast? Nothing can go where that big post is gonna be?
Where this big
That
pole is,
area right there?
that would be probably a stretch on some of that. Now, we have all this area open out here. Just because it's a depressed area doesn't mean you can't use it. That can be minimized, that can be reworked. It doesn't have to be all this area. So
Oh,
we
okay.
have all this available to us as well. This is just a low area. It probably only changes elevation about 2 feet, really.
We
if
might
it's
be
an
able to
open-
use that for a benefit for
Yep.
slopes and stuff,
We could.
make it easy. Something we want to look at, because I know we had talked about an area for skate park and splash pad, man. I was hoping for the splash pad, but
We could try to, now, we did have a version, it's not on this one, we did have a version, but it extended out here. You'll notice there's a little bit of hashing here where we had another parking area, and that splash pad was right around here.
you don't have anything to show?
I don't have that in this rendering, we actually removed it because we hadn't heard any more about that property out there. But if you'd like, we can try to, there's still time for us to reconfigure this. Right now, we're going through the MEP phase, all the electrical and the mechanical and plumbing. So there is still time to modify this, tweak it a little bit. That's one of the reasons we wanted to bring it to the full board, because we've only shown it in bits and pieces. So this was our opportunity. We can still change it up if if the board would like, we can try to move the restrooms over to this area, the opposite side, move the basketball court over a little bit more, and afford us some more room in this area here, where the restrooms currently sit, and split them up or move it over. I mean, there's still more things we can do. If you want us to render a skating park and also the splash pad, we can do that as well.
Is that a flood problem area?
No, this one's not.
Mr. President, if I may ask a question.
Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you.
Rodriguez.
I know there's already a water retention pond there. Is there any way of hooking up to it?
It is. The entire subdivision has a system, where we're gonna tie on, or what we're gonna bleed into the public system. There's an inlet right here. I don't know if you can see my icon moving.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's an inlet here. That inlet in this entire subdivision, here's another inlet,
Okay.
and it ties already. Here's, actually, you can see on this picture, that little corner, there's an outfall right in this area.
Because I know it's a pretty large
It
retention.
is, but it covers the entire area. So as part of the subdivision requirement, here it is, right in here.
Yeah.
It's for this entire area. It's slated for the entire area. So the idea is that, you know, we although the city had a requirement of a 10-year storm, you know, we want to make sure that our facilities are still protected. And being a little more conservative, we want to have our own detention. So, you know, we don't flood out our park. So we're being conservative, but there's room for us to adjust the sizing on that.
Okay. When will you have something more definite on the usage underneath the power lines?
We've been trying to contact them for the last 2 months. We just got their new representative out of Corpus last 2 weeks ago, and we've since sent them a set of the plans and what we're proposing. So we're waiting on comment, feedback from
And this is
that
who?
person.
CPNL, Magic Valley?
it's actually through ETT, which is in partnership with the AEP.
Oh, AEP,
AEP office out of Corpus.
out
That's
of
the nearest
Corpus.
office, yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, 2 months we've been trying to get a hold of them, and we just, need a yes or no. I know that we can't have any permanent structures, as you already indicated, but I really don't see a problem even if you were to go ahead and switch the whole thing and turn it counterclockwise a quarter, and just put all the parking underneath there. But I don't know about having outlets off the frontage. I know that's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get an answer so we can go and know what Phase 2 really is.
This was what we thought was probably the more efficient use of the property. Because, for instance, if we put the parking under that area, the issue becomes now the lighting and the poles, the
Yeah.
height on the height of those poles.
Yeah,
So that becomes another problem. But since this is the outfield, barring, anybody thinking that it's not safe, these are extremely tall poles, and
and they're brand new. Well, what are they, 3 years old?
the what?
The actual electrical structure?
About 2 years.
2 years,
About
okay.
2 years when they installed it.
Okay.
The size of the fields are,
These are softball, competitive softball size, and we also have the Musco lights as part of the estimate for both parks. Now, we're going to design for the full master plan, and so if funding becomes available, it'll just be a matter of bidding the next portions of it. But we are going to design and have plans ready for the entire park. That is in the planning.
I want to add something really quick. We've been sitting on this property for a long time. It's good that we utilize it in a positive way. It's just been an open field for many years. Joey's taking developers out there to take a look at it. Obviously, you can see why it's hard to put any type of mixed use, any type of commercial use. I think this is the perfect plan. Just south of here, there's a brand-new subdivision going up on mile 17 and a half. It's going up in 3 different phases. Phase 1 is done. I just want to reiterate what I think Board Member Enrique said and President Salinas is, we just want to make sure that this phase, that we're able to put stuff on there that could be used. I think a skate park If we can't do a baseball, I think that's a great idea. If we can do a splash pad, a miniature golf, something where you know that kids are gonna use that we have option B. So that way they say, well, you can't do a baseball field. Not a problem. We're gonna go ahead and put in a concrete, thing for skateboarders, which I know that we also need to work on the one, over at the Bicentennial Park. It's kind of outdated, so, those are all great ideas, just so that we have that option for this phase, because I don't want that land to go to waste. And you're right, I've taken my dogs out there as well. If you go to south there at Paul's, there's people walking up and down, which is exactly the same property, but just south of here. So they're already getting usage. Maybe you switch the parking lot up here, you can switch it up, maybe we can do the parking underneath there and then put more activities down on south, so. Just FYI, so, I mean, we're gonna follow your recommendation as far as what you think, as far as the phases, but I honestly believe that we can beat that pricing, because when it comes to pavement, I know that we do pavement as long as it's not curb and gutter. So our staff is doing a lot of pavement right now. They're doing 22 streets. I think we could get some of those trucks, get them down there and do the parking spaces here. So I think we should get a really good price at that. That's all I wanted to add, Mr. Chair.
If we do hit a wall with those fencings and stuff being an issue because of those wires, I mean, there's a lot of other things we could do, like the splash pad, the skate park, maybe even some soccer fields that don't have anything, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so there's options there that we can still, and Mr. Trevino here is still gonna be in contact with, the owners of that other property to the west there, and maybe we can do a partnership there. I mean, if it's a school that owns that, it benefits their kids to cross that little street and go to the park.
On our schedule, we still have about 2 weeks where it wouldn't affect us at all in the next 2 weeks if I bring back to the board some other options with, worst case scenario, we don't get this kind of park. Can we do what would a skate park look in this area? Or even, just to know, it may be of interest to the board to maybe have those options and see what the cost would be. So, we can prepare that this week and have something sent to you or ready, 2 or 3 different variations with the splash pad. And looking at this and listening to that, we can adjust some of these to make it a little bit more compact. So we, in case we do have the funding or in case we do partner with another entity, we can build something else. So give me a chance to do that within the next week and a half and get it back to Joe.
Is that what you guys want to do, get in, because I know this is an action item to go out for bids. Do we want to hold off on that, Mr. Trevino,
Do
and
you
wait
want
for
to
those? Or do
complete
we-
the plans first and then go out for bids?
What
Is
we
that
have,
what
what we have done to date would not be lost. I mean, the design of the grading on the, I mean, we actually can move all that grading
see the-
wherever we
It has
want
to
on the
be
site.
ours plans.
We can do, we have not lost anything by adjusting.
We can
or
always
making
hold a
changes.
special meeting next week and.
We could.
And take action on it. What do you
And I
guys?
give you 2 or
what do
3
guys
different
think?
scenarios.
So
other
that
than
would
this
keep
one.
us on that same timeline?
Yes, sir.
August? Okay.
We
think we
purposely
should
gave
do-
ourselves about 2
I would,
and a half weeks.
I would like to see what options you have available.
Sure.
For worst case scenario, in case phase 2 does not pan out like what you may think it be, especially since you haven't had any contact within the last 2 months. And I understand you want to start construction August 1st. So I would like to, if we could possibly.
Sure.
No action and
No
just
action
wait
right
to
now,
see the.
see what you come back with
Sure.
in the next week or so.
Mr.
That
President,
works.
I'd just like to add that I want to make it known that the Janet Vacker Park is a complete success. So this investment, I felt comfortable from the beginning, but I feel a lot more comfortable investing in this park because of the volume of people that are going to the Janet Vacker Park, which is just right down the road. There's a big need, as we kind of always knew and felt. So this is going to be, no matter what we put on here, it's going to be a hit.
Yes, sir. If I could add to that, we've received a lot of feedback from the school people out in that area, aside, not just the campuses, but now that the kids are actually getting to play on it, well, they ask their parents to come back and take them, after hours or
It's
even on
full in
weekends.
the evenings, every day of the week. There's no parking. They're
A
parking
lot of
everywhere.
exposure.
A lot of exposure.
All right, so we'll take no action on number 6, and Mr. Posadas, when you do have those ready,
will have
let Joey know, and we'll schedule a meeting, and we'll get back as soon as we can to move
We
forward
should have them
from
by the
there.
end of the week.
Okay,
And-
sounds good.
Mr. President, would it be okay if if I could request an itemized on how it's broken down as far as the money that's
Yes,
being spent on
please.
there, please?
Thank
Just so
you.
we can look and see exactly where the money's being spent.
We
Thanks,
do
Mike.
have that. Yes, sir.
Definitely.
No problem.
All right. Mr. Posadas, thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you next week early. Number 7, Executive Director's Report, Mr. Trevino.
Yes, members, Mr. President, members of the board, just kind of go over our sales tax, our unemployment rate, and our schedule for this next couple months. Our sales tax were good. I think I reported it at our last special meeting. We're up 7% from this time last year, $2,359,333.41. Beginning October and April of this year, our current fiscal year, we're 16% higher in our overall budget revenues. So I think we're doing well for this time of year, and 7 months into the year. Our unemployment rate was really good. We finally broke the 3, so we're 3.7.
Nice.
Compared to 4.5 last year at this time.
Wow.
So things are happening, things are good.
Walk-ons hired about 200 people.
And again, I think that's the great news of unemployment. We're going to continue with some job training programs that we've produced, and I think this whole last year has done real well, thank you. Other than that, we have, I guess, the Denver trip that Ms. Enriquez is going to, and then the DC trip that's coming up in June. Other than that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, sir. Number 8, Executive Session. Can I entertain a motion?
Second.
Do have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We will go into executive. It is 12:27 p.m.
At this time, the EDC Board will convene into executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Exceptions to requirements and meetings be open to deliberate under the following sections: 551.071, consultation with attorney; 551.072, deliberations regarding real property; 551.074, personnel matters; and 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations.
Okay, we're going to go ahead. Can I entertain a motion to come out of executive?
Make a motion.
Second.
Do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. We will come out of executive. It is 1:23 p.m. Mr. Trevino?
Yes, sir. Want to go through the executive items in the session. No action on A, B, C, and then on item D, I'll let the attorney.
Yeah, we just need a motion for Executive Director proceed as directed in closed session.
So move.
Second.
Do have a motion and a second, allowing him to proceed as discussed. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign.
And just for
Motion
the
passes.
record, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, that motion did pass. Yes, just for the record, because we did itemize some of those other items in executive session, there was no action taken on any of the matters in executive session. I apologize, Mr. President.
That's okay.
Didn't mean to
Are
interrupt
we
you.
done, Joey? Is that it?
Yes, sir.
EF? Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, Mr. President.
Second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. It's 1:25 PM. Thank you.